political issues in the water sector. Before I start, I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Ibrahim Aubada. I'm a wash expert working with the Jordan Ministry of Water and Irrigation. As introduction, as you recall, everybody here, that the Middle East and Mediterranean region actually has imposed in the last few years ago political instability, which impacted the water sector. And the major problem, usually, with such of these conflicts and those unexpected instability of political issues has an impact on the water sector. And the problem is concentrated where we can measure the impact in the water sector. Today, with our colleagues here from the panelists, we will show you how their experience in the terms of wash experts and the impact of crisis management in their business, daily business. The first speaker today will be Mr. Musaed from Yemen. Mr. Musaed, as brief, he is an engineer, civil engineer, and a member of the Ministry of Water expert. He's also expert in crisis management at Yemen. And now he is a candidate and fellow, the PhD at UNESCO-IHE in the Netherlands. So, Mr. Musaed, you have flow, please go ahead.
And welcome everybody. It's okay. Yeah. So okay. As my colleague said, I am officially working with the Ministry of Water and Environment in Yemen, and now I am doing my PhD in UNESCO-IHE in Delft, Netherlands. And my research actually focused on the revitalizing indigenous water harvesting systems to mitigate drought and flash floods. And before that, we decided to see why they disappeared, the systems. But what we noticed late during the current political crisis, we noticed that the people start to use such systems. So we decided to do something in this regard. And since the people live in urban areas, not only in rural areas, they start to use indigenous water harvesting systems. So what's the reasons behind? What led them to come back to this systems, as it is one of our focus in our studies. I'm sorry, since there is no show there, so I will start with introduction and the water problems in Yemen in general, and also the current political unrest. But I think it's, since my slides almost graphs, so I think it's important to have this slides. I don't know what's. It seems
Mr. Musaed, it's better to continue because
okay.
maybe it takes some minutes.
Yeah.
So I guess because we have limited time.
Even regarding the time, I don't know how long time they allocate for our presentation, so I just prepared it this way. And now we are facing this problem. That's great. Okay, I will start to give you a short background about Yemen, about the water in general in Yemen. So this is just the big numbers or graphs we have in Yemen. We are 27 millions, and the growth is 3.5%, and in rural areas 75. The population are in rural areas. So the water, as you see in this map, we are among the scarce country, as the water availability is less than 500 cubic meters per year per person. So it is in the red areas, and the water uses in Yemen, including this available water and also including the groundwater, we are abstracting from groundwater. There are more than 90% goes for agriculture activities and 7% for domestic uses. So this is the figure of the previous map. In Yemen, it is less than 120 cubic meters per year, which is around only 2% of the world average and 10% of the MENA region average. This graph is somehow a lot of things here, but we can divide it to two sections. Yeah, the first one is here, before 1990, or actually before 1970. Yeah, they don't have microphone. Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so before 1970s, all people rely on the renewable resources, so they adapt themselves based on what they have, especially the rainwater harvesting. So they practice their dry activities in agriculture, and also for domestic uses, they use rough water harvesting and harvesting water from gardens, from areas close to their houses. And this is the figures about the water in Yemen. It is not that much. It is range between 50 and 700 millimeters per year. But the people adapted themselves based on what they have. But after 1970s, and after the new technologies of groundwater, the people start to abstract groundwater. And from there, the problem started to increase. And if you see here, yeah, the renewable resources are around 2,500 million cubic meters, while the deficit and demand start to increase, which reach around 4,000. So this is started from 1750, and this line with points is the water accessibility. In 1990, there are 71 have accessibility, and in 2004, it is only 67% of the population. So we have more than 800 drilling rigs in Yemen, which is here, I think in Jordan you have only 2 or 3, right? And official registered rigs, only 50%. A number of wells, groundwater wells, we have more than 100,000 groundwater wells. So we have a problem also in groundwater. This is how the water is, the public systems in rural and urban areas. And here, the public water utilities. The main sector level is the Ministry of Water and Environment. Under Ministry of Water and Environment, there are National Water Resources Authority, which is responsible for water management. And also we have 2 branches for rural and urban areas, rural authorities and urban authorities. And there is a small link, or not big link, between the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation and the Water Resources Management. And actually we have a problem here, because it is under the Ministry of Water, and more than 90% of the water goes for the Ministry of Agriculture. And this is some figures for the urban utilities, the population and the percentage of systems covering the urban areas and urban areas. Yeah. So from 2011, we start to face a lot of problems. The problem is before, but it started to be more even after 2011, where the utilities become unable to provide their services to the publics, and the public themselves become unable to pay even the bills. And the almost the whole staff stay without regular pay for many months, more than 5-6 months, the last period. But before, it is 1 month they receive something and 1 month they receive nothing. So in 2011, the protests started in the streets, and the Gulf Cooperation Initiative started in 2011, which after this initiative, the Hadi was elected as a president, and 2013, the national dialogue started and approved by all in January 2014. In 2014, Houthis started to take over many areas, including the capital city of Sana'a. And in 2014, the UN also broke deal to, and all utility, all parties signed this peace, which did not succeed as well. In 2015, the Houthis start to take over other areas. And 2015, Hadi traveled to Aden. In 26 of 2015, Saudi Arabia, with other countries, announced and started military operations in Yemen, which is still up to date. So, what's the impact of such problems and war in Yemen? There are more than 10,000 killed and more than 20,000 injured in Yemen. Around 3.1 million have been displaced inside and outside the country. And there are more than 50% children out of this number. And the current war has resulted in deteriorating living conditions of more than 80% of Yemenis in terms of basic needs of water, electricity, and health. So the war affected the three sectors: oil and electricity and water sector. But actually the water sector has been affected by all, because the water sector are in need of electricity, are in need of oil as well. So the water sector is affected by the war, by the oil sector, by the electricity sector. All utilities have been affected, and most of the systems partially or totally destroyed because of such conflict. This is some figures of the water utilities, urban water utilities. And in this table, you see the operational losses in 2014 and 2015 in US dollars in three main utilities: Sana'a, Aden, and Taiz. You see $1,900,000 US dollar for 1 year as an operational losses. And this is for Sana'a, how the prices of diesel, petrol, and coal and gas increased in 2015. And this is other figures about the population in need and the WASH population in need, and the damage in water facilities, which is 438 facilities and 3.86 million affected beneficiaries. This is in the water facilities, and the rest in the health and also on the sanitation facilities. This is some pictures for one utility, for Aden utility, which shows some damages in the water tanks in the main buildings. This is one of the main utilities, and if you can have a look to the whole utilities, they are almost the same. There are many utilities have been totally destroyed, and there is no services anymore in such utilities. Just out of this war, and as a quick assessment have been made at the end of 2015, the total cost for the emergency equipments was around 50 million euros. The very emergent needs is 27 million euros. I believe now it is even much more than this number. So there also, I have made a rapid assessment in Sana'a itself to see how the people are dealing with such problems in terms of water and in terms of energy. And we selected more than 220 residents of Sana'a in rural and urban areas. And the results shows that the people have shifted from using public systems to use other systems. They forced to do so, actually. It is not by choice, but they forced to do so. So if you see here the water resources before 2011 and after 2011, more than 50% you relied in public system before 2011. But it is totally different after 2011, where the more than 70% start to rely on water tankers. Even in terms of water harvesting, this is in urban areas, it is increased from 5% of those who are using rainwater harvesting to be around 24%. Not only for gardening as it is normally used, but also they start to use such water for domestic uses.
Excuse me, Mr. Musaed, you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. And this is main source of power. Actually, we're really surprised because I am focusing in rainwater harvesting, but I find the figure is more in terms of energy. So if you see here, more than 95% was relying in public electricity system, but after the crisis, they start to rely more in the solar energy. So this graph is before 2011, and this is after. So as a main source, it was public network. But after the crisis, the main source become the solar energy. And it is not only those who are, even those who had no public system, they start to use solar energy even in their systems, in their houses. So it become available, and the people even who does not have any source, they start to use solar energy, and they find it a good source. It is not that enough as it is investigated, but at least they have something. Yeah, this is some of the practices you see here, how the people are gathering to collect the water from water points distributed by international agencies and local agencies, and also how the people start to build some systems for water harvesting, and also solar panels, how they are now in the buildings. Before you never see such figure before. We ask the people why, what's the main reason to change these resources? Is it the war itself, or there is other reasons? So if you see in this figure, the main reason is for the change in the water resource is that there is no, the lack of water in the public systems, which means the groundwater is the reason. There is no water in the public systems. They're forced to look for other sources, including rainwater. So we realized groundwater become as a reason of people to shift from indigenous systems of water harvesting. This is just as an indicator. And also the second main reason is the rising of oil prices in terms of water and also in terms of energy. And more than 70% are willing to continue with this new sources. Not because they are enough, they are not enough, but at least they have something safe. They can get something out of this renewable energy. I think this is the last slide, and I think I would be happy if I can receive any comments or any references as I am doing my research from all of you here, and welcome for any comments. And
thank you, Mr. Musaed.
Yeah.
I think that from this interesting presentation that there is an financial and economic and environmental circumstances of the political unrest here in your country in Yemen. So I allow for 3 minutes question unless there is no question. Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much for very interesting insights into Yemen. I was wondering, you said that the increase of solar power was we saw the picture. Can you indicate a bit, because you said it's not enough, how much in terms of the pre-war electricity use is now covered by solar?
I don't know if I get your question clear, but yes, most of the people now are using solar energy for their instead of electricity.
We only saw that lots of people are using now as a primary source solar, but it doesn't say anything about how much watts they're actually getting. So it might be that it's still the same level, but the other sources have decreased to zero. So solar then automatically gets a larger share because there's nothing left.
Yes, there is nothing in the public system now, and they're forced to use solar energy. But what I mean, even those who are using solar energy, not all people are able to offer and to buy the complete system to cover all of their needs. So many people just buy 1 or 2 panels to have 1 or 2 lamps. Even almost all people using solar energy, but it is not that enough. Yeah. You mean more than 70% now using
70%.
solar energy? Yeah.
Yes.
More than 70%.
Of local.
Yes.